I was asked, and I've been thinking about it all day. And I need both of you, Hazy B especially, because you'll have the angle from the Toronto perspective. But I was asked very early in the morning, how on earth is Mitch Marner the Conn Smythe leader in the playoffs for the Vegas Golden Knights? How did it happen? And I've been thinking about it all day. Like, what is it about this city? Because I sure as hell know it's not what we say. Everyone says, oh, the media there. It can't be that. So what is it about his play? And, you know, our jobs are to watch him play, watch the Leafs play, anybody play, and make analysis after that. But these plays just didn't happen in Toronto. And it actually sometimes.
Oh, it's one of the all-time great goals.
Yeah, like it's one of the greatest goals you've ever seen. Ever. And that type of stuff, the game, Jack Eichel said it, and Jack Eichel loves throwing Toronto in there in his comments too. He's like, he's got all these critics and this and that. Well, the reason he had critics is because every time there was a big game, him and the other stars didn't play well. But I just don't understand what it is about Toronto. Phil Kessel goes to Pitt. I told you guys jokingly a couple of weeks ago, fold the team then if nobody can play here or want to. I just don't understand how he goes out there. And first of all, let's acknowledge it's incredible play. And somebody says, "Oh, you hate Mitch Marner." I don't hate anybody. I don't know the guy. I don't hate anybody. My job is to watch people play and make an assessment of what I see. I just don't understand how it can go from one thing here to the best player in the NHL there in the playoffs. Explain it to me.
I think there's a lot to unpack there, Yeah, and I like how you acknowledged, like the guy, he's been awesome. And
he's the best player in the league right now. He's better than McKinnon. He's better than anybody.
Been unbelievable. So that's first and foremost. Different setting, different team. Different everything, another year of experience, all of that type of stuff. The guy's gone through the Olympics. Austin Matthews won a gold. They didn't have success here deep into the playoffs yet, but that's the type of stuff. You have a career that you continue to build on. Mitch Marner, he's gone to a different – that's just a different team than the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto Maple Leafs are a very good team. A year ago, calendar year ago, hell of a team. Took the Stanley Cup champions to Game 7. If they fell short. It wasn't like they were a garbage team. It just unfortunately unraveled at the wrong time. But Mitch, I think two things can be true at the same time. He didn't have the success that you wanted here in Toronto at critical times. But he's certainly having it right now in Vegas.
Well, and that's not answering, I guess, what you're asking, is there is no answer. That's the truth. There's no true explanation that is going to allow anyone to look back on 9 years and say, oh, okay, now I get that. Right. Could it be that there was so much, pressure on him, or he put pressure on himself? I'm not talking externally, that he put so much pressure on himself in Toronto as a Maple Leaf because he built it up over 9 years with Matthews, with Tavares, with Nylander and Riley, etc., all his family, friends, understanding the history, everything that came with being a Maple Leaf. And you look at the way he played Game 7 last year against Florida and compare it to what he's done basically every night throughout the playoffs. It's two completely different players.
I know.
You wouldn't even, if they had different names, you'd say that's not the same guy. Like,
exactly.
There's no chance.
And maybe it's as simple as, like, we're just overlooking the idea. Maybe the team is just that much better. Well, and it doesn't have to be Mitchie's got to do it or Matthews has got to do it.
He's gone to a different setting. It's a different team.
Yeah, but
a
couple things on that. First and foremost, I think one thing you got to acknowledge, and it's not putting down anything, they've played Utah and Anaheim, okay?
I'm not even going there, Brian.
I'm going there.
Everybody, I'm
going
not.
there. I'm going there.
Go ahead.
Because, we got to point something out. Mitch's goal was phenomenal. Jackson Lacombe should be embarrassed with himself. That is horrendous defense last night. Like, he's waving his stick at him. You got to bury that guy. I can't believe he played it that way. Like, he obviously didn't think that he'd get cheeky and go through his legs, but that is a horrible defensive play by Lacombe. But Utah is incredibly raw. They're high flyers saying, let's go point night and try to win 6-5. Like, look at Lacombe. Yeah. It's like, dude, you got a battle there. And the Ducks
taking
are the same
away
thing.
From the greatness once again.
No. I'm just acknowledging something. Listen, do you know what he did against Ottawa Game 1 last year? He put on a clinic. He put on a clinic last year, Game 1. You know what Ottawa was last year? The rawest team in the playoffs. That's my point. They showed up and they're like, we don't even know what we're walking into here. Same thing with Utah. They have no playoff experience, and this Anaheim team has none. It doesn't mean he's not doing it. It's that it's not Florida, it's not Boston, it's
so
not
you're
Tampa.
saying wait to see. Do it against Colorado. That's
yes,
what you're saying.
and let's see. And I'm not going to bet against him because I think Vegas is good, and he's clearly breathing easier there. Like clearly he has something's come over him where he said, I'm just going to play the way I've always played in the regular season, because he's made plays like that as a regular season play for nine years.
Yeah.
He's a magician on the ice. He's a brilliant hockey player. He didn't have the ability to step up and do it in the playoffs. And that doesn't change because you can't go back now. He's left Toronto. And, it's funny. There's a couple things that I was thinking about as well. That last night, that's the marquee moment of his career. Year one as a Vegas Golden Knight. It surpassed everything he's ever done as a Leaf. I can't recall a bigger moment as a Maple Leaf than what he had last night.
No.
Right? He led his team to the third round. He's in the conference championship for the first time in his career. That is the pinnacle goal of his career. That's the top highlight of his career. Right there, what happened last night.
I know, and even listening to Jack Eichel speak after glowingly, clearly, of Mitch Marner, and deservedly so, he was like, that's why this guy was brought here. He was a game changer and a game breaker, and that's what he's doing right now.
Well,
and I had to say to myself, yes, that is what he is and supposed to be and what he's paid to be, but in the playoffs, he didn't do it here.
No, but here's the thing. Eichel was truthful last night. He did have a ton of critics, and he is shutting people up.
Right.
He is. Like, Eichel didn't say anything that was wrong. He said he had a lot of critics. He did. So did Matthews, so did Tavares, so did Nylander. They all did.
Yeah.
Like, and you can argue one had a little more than the other. I think in Toronto, Marner had more than the others, and my theory has always been going back to his contract because he's a local guy. I've been saying that for 7 years. He got treated differently by myself and others because he didn't grow up in Scottsdale. He didn't grow up in Sweden. He didn't, he was a Toronto guy, and the expectation was you should know better. You should be dying to play for the Leafs. Just get the contract over with and move on. And ever since that point, a lot of things changed for him over the preceding 6 years as a Maple Leaf because of the contract negotiation, because of how sticky it got, how ugly it got. And that's the reverse of hearing, like Chelios was on TNT last night talking about the Toronto and the media and the market and the critics and all that. It's funny because, listen, it's a loud market, and it's never going to change. Never going to change.
Never will.
The media is always going to cover it. People are always going to have different viewpoint. There's a lot of people that cover the team that don't like the team, don't like the fans, and they love poking at the Leafs because that gets a ton of attention. But the reason Mitch Marner got his contract 7 years ago is because of the exact same media and exact same boogeyman monster of a market that now on the flip side they're saying I don't like. And what I mean by that is he never would have got a 6-year deal at $11 million a year if he was playing in Carolina or playing in Vegas or playing anywhere else. And he didn't complain about that. He didn't sit there and say, man, people are just a little bit too crazy here when he got overpaid by at least $2 million.
That's
and they walked him right
though.
to free agency.
That's management, though. They screwed up.
No,
if Lou Lamoriello was here, they would have not have got that contract.
Possibly, but Lou Lamoriello had a boss, though, Noodles. So I think it's Shanahan you can talk to. Shanahan wasn't going anywhere.
Fair.
Lou, Dubas, I don't care who it is. It's Shanahan that did it. And I think Shanahan bought into the Chelios theory. Crazy here, got to overpay him. We paid Matthews. Just get it done. It's going to get too loud here. It's too crazy. You got to pay a tax. And I don't remember Mitch complaining about that because Rantanen got $9 million and Point got $6.5 on a bridge deal. And Matthew Tkachuk, I think, got $7 million or something. And Mitch got overpaid. And they walked him right to free agency. Why? Because of the boogeyman Toronto market. No complaints then. But then at the end, it's, this place is too crazy. Can't have it both ways.
No, you're right. And it did, I think, probably did get crazy by the end for him. And that's fair.
And he made a choice and he left.
Exactly.
And he did you know what he did, Noodles? He just said, give me the Rantanen deal this time, and I'm done.
Moving on. Yeah.
No negotiation. Didn't go through August with Vegas and say, you better give me $14 million. Kaprizov just got 17. He just quietly said, I'm leaving and give me a deal like this. And the truth is, maybe if he had done that 7 years ago, who knows where he'd be today. Maybe he'd still be a Leaf. Maybe he'd look at the market differently. We'll never know that. But he's playing phenomenally well, and he deserves all the credit in the world.
And the thing
He's
is,
been
though,
unbelievable.
You're right, Brian, but here's the one thing we come back to. If they didn't have success, we're seeing how cutthroat things are. They probably should have broken up that core four years ago. It took until last year for him to leave for the core four to be broken up. So that comes back to what you just said. Management, money in the door, all of that, belief in the core four, stake my career, core four is going to win here eventually, all of that. The other teams are like not working, coaches fired, players out, all of that. They held on too long to the core four here, unfortunately. And, Marner chose to leave. It's his decision. He's playing great. 3 years still left. One is on a very value contract. He's not even part of the core four. He's at 30. He'll be 36 and a very good player. And John Tavares has done nothing wrong at this point. But the point being is, they held on to those guys too long. It could have been 3 years ago that he left, or they traded him before he had a decision to make, because he didn't have that no trade until 2 Julys ago. Was that correct?
Yes.
So they could have moved him.
And listen,
and
maybe they should have, moved somebody else 3 years ago. Maybe they never should have signed Tavares. There's a lot of different things.
Hindsight, you're right.
Of
you're
course,
right.
Hindsight being 2020, they're going to look back, and I'm not disagreeing with you that the core four, it wasn't going to work. Like even Mitch was here this year, it wasn't going to change something. They weren't going to win a Stanley Cup this year. It wasn't going to happen. They tried for 7 years. They gave it a shot with that core four. 7 years with Tavares and all of them, and they just kept going back and stubbing their toe. It wasn't going to work. And I honestly, I kind of think he's smart enough, Mitch, to realize that. And he was like, I'll put my hand up and I'm out of here,
Yeah.
And he made a great decision personally because he's in a very good spot in Vegas. They're a really good team. I think they're in one now against Colorado.
Well, Colorado, so
clear
favorite.
We'll see what they can do here. But, he made that choice.
Yeah,
he left. They tried to sign him. By all accounts, did they pay him when he was willing to? It's another thing. Did they? I think they offered him more than 8 years at $12 million. And he said no, but he took it in Vegas, which he's entitled to. He's allowed to. It's his life. It's his career.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a constant thing with him, and the reality is it's gonna slow down over time because he's just gonna be a Vegas Golden Knight. Like, that's what he's going to be remembered as because he's likely to play there for a long time.